You're listening to Chicagoland's finest podcast, featuring the Gorehound.
Well, because I'm bringing us in.
Jen.
I mean, it's horrifying because,
Cousin Charles. And Nick.
I know. I thought I was going to screw it up again.
It's time for the all-new Culture Cast, starting now.
I am the Gorehound.
I'm Cousin Charles.
And we are the all-new Culture Cast, back for the latest edition. How are you doing this week, Cuz?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling fantastic. Got a chance to finish a new series on Netflix, so that's always exciting.
Yeah, that must have been 10 hours worth, huh?
10 hours straight, my friend.
We are committed in this podcast. But we do not have Jen at the moment, though she should be picking up in a few minutes. So, and Nick is still on his paternity leave from the podcast.
Yeah, well, the all new Culture Cast may be your guys' baby. He's got to take care of another baby. Yeah. So, but this week we are talking about the Netflix. We are really keeping up with this trend of Netflix series. But Altered Carbon, we will be discussing the first 3 episodes, though some of us may have watched all of them. But that is fine. But you want to start us off with...
What have you been watching?
So we have been another week of Charles Went to the Movies.
Oh.
I finally saw a movie that I've been dying to see for a while now, but no theater down here in Missouri was playing it until this past weekend. And that was The Shape of Water.
Yeah. I was not interested in it at all, but then I saw the acceptance speech, and I was like, dude, this guy is... I want to see it just because of that acceptance speech. I was like, man, he put his heart into that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I really enjoy, Guillermo del Toro probably is in my list of top directors that I do. I usually consistently pretty enjoy a lot of their material. I haven't seen Crimson Peak, which is the one I think he made before this, but I've seen, all the Hellboy movies, Pan's Labyrinth, Pacific Rim. Yeah. And like I said, there is such a... I don't know what it is, but there's such a funness, if that's a real word, but it's like someone who really I like this weird shit, and I'm going to make you love this weird shit with me. And Shape of Water is no exception. This actually does mark a first, as this is a movie that was very much highly on my radar, but then also surprisingly on my girlfriend's radar. And the only reason I bring that up is she typically doesn't get into genre stuff the way I do, but she was just as excited to see this movie as I was. Or do you want me to go a little bit into the plot, or just
I think because I'm thinking that next week we might be doing I can't never get this the award, those types of movies next week with Jen.
Okay.
So what was your 30-second review?
Yeah. 30-second review. It's a well-done love story between Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not for kids or anything like that. It's very much for adults. There are some violent scenes and violent moments, or gore, or more gory moments, I guess you could describe it. I won't give away too much, but just 3 words: Michael Shannon's fingers.
Yeah.
Just remember that if you see. Have you seen the movie or
no?
Yet?
And I'm not sure I will until it becomes more readily available.
Okay, but I would say it's a very touching love story. It works so very well, and this is probably one of the more interesting movies, again, to get sort of all this awards buzz and stuff like that, considering it is a story between a mute woman and a fish monster. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's probably one of the most memorable movies from this past year, I guess. And definitely I will say it definitely is worth seeing. Okay. Or it definitely is worth seeing if a local theater has it. If you're in a bigger city, you probably have already seen it. But if you're in a small or community like Columbia, Missouri, and your local art house theater happens to be showing it with drinks and popcorn, go for it.
Cool.
Yeah, no.
All right. I have been watching quite a few. It was Valentine's Day yesterday, and so in our typical Boatwright tradition, we watched the compilation Valentine's Day movie starring like 10 to 20 different actors and actresses, but we did not get around to watching the Denise Richards horror movie Valentine. But I started watching a little bit of that, but I like to make that a tradition because I've been skipping out on the other, because Christmas tradition movies are pretty, like, we got through all of our Christmas movies this year, but then there are other days throughout the year where it's like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day and Mother's Day. I don't often get around to watching those holiday-themed horror movies. So
I guess I do have a quick question. I have a pretty good idea what the St. Patrick's Day themed horror movies are.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 2, Back to the Hood.
Yeah. No, I own all. I own the first 4. It goes Leprechaun 2 in the Hood, Leprechaun 3 Back to the Hood, and then Leprechaun in Space. No, I think I'm getting that mixed up.
Well, there's one where he goes to Vegas, isn't there? Or is that 2?
I don't.
Wikipedia.
I'm a little shamed that I don't know this. Leprechaun 2, 3, 4, yeah. And then In the Hood and Back to the Hood are 5 and 6. And those are the 2 that I don't own, because I'm a real cheapskate when it comes to purchasing movies, and those aren't in a disc set. And so I have to buy them individually, and I'm like, no, not doing it. Even despite how great they are.
You mean you won't cough up the money for the cinematic classic that is Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun Back 2?
But I will watch them whenever it is on TV, or if it's freely available, I will hands down watch it, because those are just gold.
Still waiting for the to close out the trilogy for the sub-series of Leprechauns in the Hood.
Yeah. So moving on from that, I've also been watching just some random Halloween movies, in particular Halloween 4, 5, and H2O, for no real reason other than it's been sitting on my ledge for a few months, and I think since Halloween, like, these were the movies that I never got around to watching during Halloween, so I've been watching them, and they're brilliant. I love them. What else? Oh, a random one-off. I decided to watch Titanic because I was in a real big Josh Hartnett mood, and I actually stuck through the 3... No, not Titanic. Oh my gosh, I am off. The Josh Hartnett Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck, and I sat through the 3 hours, and I enjoyed it. Are you there?
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Jen. Charles?
Oh, Kyle?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
But
I'm sorry I killed Charles.
I believe... Oh, are you there? Cuz?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
There can only be 2.
You kind of faded out there a bit. So, all right. Hey, Jen. Good to hear from you.
Hey. Sorry, I tried to... and then I couldn't get into Dan's computer.
Okay. Let me just finish off with what have I been watching, and then we will... welcome to the podcast. I'm going to finish my segment.
Hey, yes.
So I watched Pearl Harbor, and I sat through the 3 hours because I really wanted to watch a Josh Hartnett film. And I was like, 3 hours of Josh Hartnett, why not? So I did that. A random... All these are random. But I've been reading the new line of the Ghost Rider comics, and I hate it, but we'll leave that for a separate discussion. And I'm very upset that X-Files was not on this week. Like, I sat down with my dinner and a beer, and I was like, I'm ready for X-Files this week. And I turn on Fox, and it's not on. Because I don't understand how TV series work when they're currently running. Like, they come on every single week until they're done, right? That's how they work. But they just decided to skip a week for no reason. And it, honestly, ruined my day.
Well, how many episodes, I guess, aside, how many episodes are there this season?
10, and they're right in the middle of the season. So I don't know if it's, because of the Olympics or something.
A lot of things are getting bumped for the Olympics.
I'm kind of upset with this. But
a lot of my CW superhero shows are on hiatus until the Olympics finish up.
And then the last thing well, moving on to... Jen, we'll jump right back to you, but moving on to the Man Crush.
Man Crush.
I first wanted to drop this YouTube video I think it's called What's in the Bag? Yeah, What's in My Bag. It's from Amoeba Records on YouTube, and they basically bring in celebrities and they walk through the store and they just like pick up some random CDs and or CDs or records, and they say like, this is why I picked this and why I picked that. But it's just like podcast. Well, in my opinion, the brilliance is in the person who they're asking. And in this episode, it was Michael Shannon. And I just love everything about Michael Shannon. And he is the man crush of the week. In part because of this, I just found this like random video and I was like, this is great. And I was also working from home that next day. And so I just made a playlist of all of the things that he picked out. And I just listened to all Michael Shannon's favorite music.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, what's that?
I was going to say, so I've not seen this episode, so what is Michael Shannon to? I figured he's a smooth jazz kind of guy.
There was, it ended up being half of the playlist was jazz. And like, I don't really listen to any of these people. There's Thelonious Monk, some Wilco. I don't remember who else. I was able to fill up 5 hours of tunes. But, like, I really didn't hear a lot of these. Oh, and a lot of it was from his own band called Corporal.
He has his own band?
Yes. Well, he did. And they actually have, like, a few albums out. So that kind of, like, infused the playlist. Like, I would be listening to something, and then I'd be like, oh, that's actually Michael Shannon singing. That's great. I love this. So, all right.
That's awesome.
Jen, what's going on? What have you been watching?
Listen, I could either watch the episodes for today's show, or I could watch anything else.
What's that?
No, I'm saying I had exactly 3 hours to watch TV this week, and I devoted it to the podcast rather than to anything like fun.
Oh my gosh, you are a sweetheart.
I agree. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, these hour-long episodes are kind of a killer.
Everything should be comedy length.
Yeah, just 22 minutes. Let's do it. So.
I feel very productive when I catch up on a comedy series. So, actually, that's not entirely true. I did go over to a friend's house, and she had some episodes of Parks and Rec, which I have not watched in a long time, although I loved the series when it was on. And so, like, going back to those old episodes kind of felt like a warm hug. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, the Graveyard Queen, that's one of the repeats is Parks and Rec.
I always knew she was a better person than everyone else.
Yeah, I love seeing Chris Pratt in that because he's so different than what he is today. Now he's just like ripped and buff and popular, and over there he's just like a completely different person.
Absolutely.
All right, well,
Chris Pratt is a national treasure.
We appreciate your devotion to the podcast.
Thank you.
All right, we ready to jump on in?
Let's do this.
All right. Cuz, why did you pick this? Because this was your pick.
Yes. Well, I guess I didn't have a lot of reason. It, like I said, seemed to check off a lot of my interests. A lot of my interest whenever I peruse for television.
Yeah.
Big scope, a unique world, which I'll get to that in a bit. Lots of action, and it seemed pretty intriguing. I will say this: I got a little soft spot for like noir-esque stories of like detectives trying to solve a mystery and stuff like that. And I love my dashing of sci-fi, as anyone can clearly tell by my many Star Wars T-shirts. But no, it just so it's kind of interesting. And like I said, I actually think if I remember, I was watching TV, and I think I actually saw, I haven't seen this before, I saw a trailer for the show. Like how you show a trailer for the movie, just on regular television, but from Netflix. So I think that also kind of caught my interest, because I was like, okay, this looks interesting. This looks a little different. It looks very much more looks a little bit more action oriented, which outside of maybe, like I said, I've seen the Marvel shows. Other than that, I haven't really seen Netflix really do an action or really good action series that I can think of.
So this seems to check off all of your boxes. You seem to you were looking forward to watching this.
I was, yeah. And then, like I said, I sat down, and I'll be I sat down, and it was okay.
Yeah. Jen, I really just want to hear your opinion on this. What did you think, Jen?
Listen, the word sleeve has lost all meaning to me. When I was getting dressed this morning, I was just like, armholes, question mark? I'll compare this to the movie we recently watched, which was Bright.
Okay.
And I think they did a lot more with world building. You know, like I'm not sure I entirely understand the world, but I think it makes more sense and follows more than like Bright does, like where there's orcs, but also everything else is the same. I felt like it made some sense, and I felt like they had kind of a sense of humor. Like there's a moment in the third episode where they meet a married couple who like regularly fight each other to the death, and then they switch up their sleeves or whatever. And I was like, okay, you know what? In a world where this sleeve business is real, you know what? Yeah, that is a thing that would happen. I kind of enjoy that. But I'll say, having said that, I think when your basic premise is that like, you can die, but also like not if you have money, I think that kind of lowers some stakes for me, personally. I think when we know that death is only permanent sometimes under some circumstances, but not under a lot of circumstances, I think that can kind of take away some of the urgency for me.
This should have been phenomenal for me because it was pretty much just like a really updated, or it was like the same universe as Blade Runner. And for those of you who don't know, Blade Runner and Cemetery Man are my two favorite movies of like all time. But I'm continually having a difficult time watching this. I don't know why, but there's a lot of annoying things in this that make it difficult for me just to like immerse myself in this. It's probably because there are elements of like it's like a mystery, like trying to solve this thing, and I don't do well with trying to solve murders. I don't know. It just doesn't ring my bell.
Yeah. It's tougher, too, when, like, the murder victim is the one hiring you. To be like, yeah, it's sad you got shot, but, like, also you're still alive and, like, banging your wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for you, but also, like, I'm not super worried.
Yeah. I should also say that I have, side by side, been listening to the audiobook of this.
Oh.
I saw that it was available on, like, our library's free audiobook service, and I was like, why not?
That's pretty cool.
So I've been like following it a little bit, but mainly it's been putting me to sleep. So
that's always a good sign when a book puts you right to sleep.
And it's been doing a great job. But like this morning, or because I listened to a half hour last night, and then I listened to a little bit more this morning, and apparently I fell asleep like mid like hardcore sex scene, and so I get to work and I just like put my headphones in, and it's just like she was holding my throbbing cock and I was side of her. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's 7:30 in the morning. Like, I need to...
I have some logistical questions about that, by the way.
No, because they were like, I was in her and she was in me, and it was like all over the place, and it was ecstasy, and it was, okay, you're being a little bit dramatic here. So
the biggest movie crime possible.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't do book very well, and I think that might be like the first sex scene that I've read in a book, because apparently all of my books that I've ever read don't have like intense sex. Like, this is weird.
You don't remember
It's weird that you've never read a book with a sex scene.
You don't remember the sex scene from Hop on Pop?
I don't read a whole lot of books, and I think when I do, they might just be like environmental books or something like that. So no. So yeah, that's pretty much my opening thoughts on that. I'm gonna give a brief premise. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is in the future. It's not an alternate reality, right?
I think it's in the 26th century.
Okay, so this is the future. People's souls, in quotation mark, are in these little discs that you can insert into your spinal cord, and you insert these discs into sleeves, which are basically like artificial bodies that you control via your disc. And so if like your body dies, you could put your disc into like another sleeve, assuming that you can afford it, because there's a lot of dystopian elements in this where the rich are the only people who are really living, and then all the poor people like can't afford these really nice sleeves and die.
Right.
And so we start off with this renegade guy who dies dies, and then he comes back as like a new, like totally buff and ripped guy who is just, I find him very annoying. Like, he's a very unique actor. At the same time, like, he's just like way too intense for intense sake. So
I've only seen him in I think Suicide. The only movie I think I've ever seen that guy in is like Suicide Squad.
What was he in Suicide Squad?
He was Rick Flag.
I don't know what that means.
He was the army guy who was not Will Smith and not anyone else with cool powers. He was guy with gun.
Listen, I watched that entire movie and do not remember. But to be fair, that movie was terrible.
And he was wearing clothes in Suicide Squad. So
was he the alligator?
No, he was the normal dude. He was just the normal. He's like
as forgettable as can be.
Yeah.
So man,
like I'm looking at him.
Tell you, I've never heard of that guy.
He was the guy with the gun who was not Will Smith.
I'm looking at all these photos from Suicide Squad, and I'm like, okay, he looks like he would fit in there, but I don't remember him at all. But yes, that is the same guy. There are numerous scenes without his shirt on. And there is some full frontal on both sexes. So I do give them kudos to that they're...
Yeah, there's no dick shots, though.
There's...
Yeah.
There's at least two that I remember. There weren't that many dick shots, but there were at least two.
Yeah.
There was definitely a scene where they, like, walk in on him in the hotel room the next morning, and he, like, always turns so you can only see his butt, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, lame.
And yeah, because the Gorehound Queen was watching this, and I was like yelling, I was like yelling, and like, but it was like an argument between us. I was like, he needs to get naked because we just saw a full frontal woman, and you're just gonna prance around this room and not show anything.
Listen,
it's so
if you
unfair.
Think one full frontal woman, I count at least 500 per episode.
Well, I was just saying, yes,
right, no.
That check mark has been hit, and you're gonna play around and not show it for no reason whatsoever. This isn't a comedy. This is like, it's not a comedy. So why are you playing around with this? That's just one of my bothers with this. So, but yeah, so in this podcast, we're just going through the first three, despite Cuz watching all of them. I think I watched maybe like the fourth one or something, and Jen devoted her entire week to this one, and we do it.
Oh my gosh!
Jen, are you going to finish it?
Absolutely not. Here's why. So here's the thing. Like, I find the lead actor to be as bland as possible.
Yeah.
And I'll say that's a problem in a fair number of TV shows where you're like, the side characters are more interesting than the lead character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has no emotion whatsoever.
It's like whatever.
To the point where you're like, I don't know what he's thinking. I'm wondering if he's a robot or what.
I'm not entirely clear what her job is.
Yeah.
But she seems to be some sort of space cop. I want them to bang, but just because, like, TV has taught me that people who, you know, are mildly irritated with each other should definitely bang, you know? But other than that, am I interested in what happens to this guy? No. And second of all, like, I think it is very weird and kind of icky in Hollywood for them to take a character who is Asian and put him in a white guy's body for a TV show.
Oh, yeah, and that never works. I mean...
Right, like, and, you know, I mean, I get the premise, but, like, you also could have put him in a different Asian man's body, you know? Like, the fact that he's this white guy with an Asian name and, like, an Asian flashback and, like, you know, he's got his, like, sister who, you know, he has these memories of or whatever, but, like, he's, like, I feel very icky about that. I don't know if the Asian American community is, like, paying attention to this show and if they're mad or not, but I was watching it. I was just like, okay, maybe it's not what I think it is. And then I was like, nope, it's exactly what I think it is. Given that he is a sleeve, it seems like it would be very easy to replace him in season 2. You know, like, something happens to this sleeve and we could just put him in a different body and then that would be better.
Yeah.
Right. Like pick a guy, you know, my standard's not high. First of all, Asian. Second of all, can act. That's all.
So, this, I will give this series credit, is that the universe that they have created is wonderful. At the same point, it's kind of default. Like, the universe is, I feel like, just a copy of Blade Runner or Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I kept trying to think about. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, no, fine.
When I was trying to think about why I'm not really connecting with the series as well as I should be, because it just a lot of the elements I think in the design and how the world looks and feels, because they try to do their best to make this feel like it's lived in. There's people around everywhere, but it just ends up feeling like it's borrowing from other movies. We're in the far future, city. There are mega cities everywhere with flying cars, and and also our government's even more fucked up than it is now. It's very much like a lot of the design of just how everything felt in this world, I feel like I've seen in other things. I mean, obviously Blade Runner and things like that, but just a lot of the design elements. I don't know if it's a case of I don't know how old because I know Altered Carbon is based on a book. I don't know when the books came out.
2002.
I think it was 2002.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then never mind. I was going to argue maybe it was like a John Carter situation where it's other works of fiction kind of took ideas from this, and then when they finally adapted it, it was well, we've seen that in other things. That you know what I mean. But yeah, I think a lot of the world just felt very bland, very. The only part of that world that felt unique design-wise, where I was I have not seen that before, was surprisingly the location of the AI hotel, the Raven. Just a futurist in this futuristic world, there's a Edgar Allan Poe themed hotel with a Edgar Allan Poe or an AI who thinks he pretty much is Edgar Allan Poe is the host. I think that's clever. I have not seen that. Yeah, that's a great element. I'm I have not seen that in any other type of futuristic world. Yeah. So I would like to see more of that, please.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed the character of Poe much more than the main character. Let's follow that guy. Or, imaginary robot or whatever.
So yeah, the universe is great, but
I think the design elements are, I don't know how much they're cribbed from other kind of cyberpunk, futuristic, whatever, but I thought they were great. I thought it really looked visually stunning, you know?
And the both the CGI and whatever effects that they did use were great. I mean, nothing is too far-fetched. Actually, it didn't even occur to me that the special effects were subpar or anything. I like this because I love Blade Runner, and it looked just like Blade Runner, just with 2018 graphics.
So, is it better or worse than Blade Runner 2049, which this movie I've not seen?
Oh my god, 24. That movie was perfect. I mean, in my opinion, but that's a topic for a different day.
Podcast.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just borrowing audio from the audiobook, but the sex in this movie seems a bit. I don't know why there's so much. Yeah, and I don't know why there's so much focus on it. I understand sex is like a carnal instinct, but why are we focusing
Today, Gorehound
on so
explains why people like sex.
I mean, I understand.
You know what? I would listen to that podcast.
But it's. I mean, I don't know. I did not like the amount the amount of nudity that they were showing. It's you're kind of just it's unnecessary at this point. It's not getting anything across. So
I think a lot of it, especially in the first 3 episodes, I think eventually I sort of just maybe because this is just the generation I've been raised with. But I think I'm kind of desensitized to nudity or sex in television, because it's just it's not shocking or risque. It's just
Yeah.
It doesn't really grab. I guess it doesn't really grab me like it should. If that makes any sense. It's not. You know what I mean?
What else do we got going on with Jen? What else bothered you about this movie?
Well, so like I said, so the whole the concept of white guy inhabits Asian man's body always is going to bother me. But like I said, I think we also have trouble feeling some sense of urgency when characters, I mean, they can die, but it also, I mean, in a situation where people are a married couple could regularly fight to the death funsies, you know. I don't know that I felt like the stakes were very high. You know, I think within most murder mysteries, there's sort of this implicit scariness in that, like, okay, well, if he killed Frank, he could kill, you know, Detective Who's It, you know. And so you always have kind of that implicit threat. But in a world where death only happens under very certain circumstances, I think it's very hard to, especially if you're going to tie it to this kind of half-hearted murder mystery that they have. I think it's very tough to do that.
And the fact that if he does die, he is fully funded to get a replacement very easily. So it's like, why aren't you, like, living to the fullest? Like, why wouldn't you, like, jump off a bridge to, like, see how it feels or something?
Right. And, like, I don't want to sit here and be like, look, the movie Groundhog's Day did it better. But at the same time, I think, you know, there's a reason that Groundhog's Day is a classic. And one of it is because he does go through this, like, depressed, you know, there's not, you know, nothing can really kill me. You know, I should at least try to die, you know, and to be fair, I didn't watch the whole series. It may be that that's coming at some point, you know, that he is going to kind of go through this, like, depressed shit, you know, I might as well try to die or otherwise, you know, see what will happen. But I just, you know, like, I think there's a certain amount of, like, you know, if you're going to remove death or remove the possibility of death, I need to see characters reacting to that.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think that's something that the you know, and again, if they do that later in the series, or maybe that was somehow covered in the book and they just haven't, you know, they were just too busy, you know, putting in more prostitutes or whatever, you know. Yeah, I don't feel, what did you guys feel? Did you feel like there were stakes here? Did you feel like, or do you feel like this kind of removes a chance to?
I mean, I was just perturbed with the whole, he has no reason to be doing this. Like, he is supposedly like a renegade, but I don't know what he is fighting for. Like, I know that renegade group is like, I mean, I presume that they're fighting to, like, overthrow the bureaucracy, but he doesn't seem to care much in these flashbacks that we're seeing. I'm like, okay, I'm sure this is going to play some part, but we're 3 episodes in, and I'm like, I've gotten the point that you're past, but what's the point to do it?
Yeah, as I will say, I mean, it kind of plays in as you go along further. I mean, every sort of Netflix type series that's got like a, you know, has the flashback episode, and like I said, so there is a flashback episode that kind of shows you how we got to this, how our character became who we see him as. I guess spoilers, but we'll get to that. We'll talk more about that in detail. But it's, I mean, the only motivation I will say I was kind of enjoying that. He's like, I'm not going to work for you. Fuck it. I'm going to have a vacation. I'm just going to party and then put me back on ice. Yeah. But then his ghost girlfriend told him, you need to do it because, you know, it's the right thing. Or she was telling him something like, you got to keep fighting or some, it was like something cliched along that lines. Because he was just like, you know, what if I just blow up my own stack? Which also becomes a phrase that doesn't have any sort of like dramatic weight whatsoever. You know, oh my god, you blew out his stack. Yeah, no, it doesn't really roll off the tongue. But anyhow, yeah, it's just kind of, it's not bad motivation, but just typical, you know, great detective, I never asked for this case. Or,
it does feel like the mystery to me feels kind of boilerplate. Yeah. I feel like they just sort of went in and said, okay, it's a murder mystery. Okay, so we've got like hard-boiled guy. Does he, and maybe I missed this, it's just a little hard to say, but like what makes him more qualified to investigate this than anybody else?
Yeah, why was he just picked at random? Or was he?
I'm not going to get too much into that.
I mean, you can spoil it for us because Jen has made clear that she's not going to watch the rest of it, and I'm probably only going to watch it just because I have to finish every series that I start, so...
I will say this, the initial mystery kind of wavers on in the background for a while, and eventually, because there are more other sort of related crimes and things like that, eventually, I don't know, I don't want to say too much, because like I said, but let's, actually, shoot, what was the original question?
Why him? What's so special about this guy?
Well, it's eventually, like all great noir mysteries or conspiracy movies, there's a convoluted, complicated reason why he was chosen. The justification in the first 3 episodes is because he was, you know, he was part of this, you know, this rebel group called the Envoys, who were like the best trained, you know, the best, you know, warriors or something like that. You know, they could they had intuition or stuff like that, and somehow that intuition makes him a good detective as well, which is kind of weird because his backstory is he's basically a soldier. He's basically a kick-ass soldier for the Praetorium, Proctor, whatever it is, a Protectorate. That's what it is. Sorry.
Okay.
He's a soldier for the Protectorate who joins the rebels, and somehow that makes him qualified to be a detective to solve a mystery like this. Yeah, so it's kind of, but like I said, there's other reasons that are revealed later. There's a secret, there's like a reveal, and a puppet master character that I will say is eventually revealed near the last 3 episodes.
Okay.
And that character kind of takes the role of like a central villain.
There is a lot going on in this, and there's just not enough. There's just nothing has caught my attention in this. So I have nothing like wanting me to watch the next episode. Like, yes, like this is as good as like a really pretty painting. Like, it's fun to look at, but these are hour-long episodes, and I care.
There's nothing really with Altered Carbon. I did like the initial mystery. I wanted to see where the show is going, but eventually there's nothing inherently bad about the show. Like, I will say this, like there's nothing fundamentally wrong with what they did on the screen. There's nothing like, there really isn't like a, why they do this or why they do that. Like, in theory, everything is kind of set up and introduced very well. It's just none of it really is memorable, or nothing really sticks with you. Yeah. Like I said, the most interesting idea that the show has, and I'm assuming the book for this matter too, is the idea of death being optional. And what does a world look like when death becomes, this sort of like optional obstacle that can be overcome. And like I said, I think the show kind of introduces like what society looks like. But for the most part, I think that was the most interesting stuff out of this story. But it never really becomes too much of a major focus. It just kind of, it's sort of an important, it's an important detail, and eventually it turns into a point of rich people, the rich are terrible, and the poor people are used by the rich. That's kind
Seems
of how
timely.
Oh yeah, very much. I actually will say yes. That is a very timely message.
Yeah, but you could pull out really any message from this when so few things are like explained up front, and I don't feel like that's a good quality where you can just interpret it however you want. There are some things that need to be explicitly stated.
Well, it also doesn't feel like it's trying to be lofty. Like, I've heard some people saying like this is supposed to be like Netflix's Game of Thrones.
Oh.
And
no.
Yeah, I mean, there's one story going on in this. To start off with, and it's just I kind of want this to be canceled right now.
Well, we did not help matters.
I mean, I think the ranch is still on Netflix, so honestly, anything can survive. But
I just think the chance is that this will get canceled.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, probably not. I feel like I think it's part of a book series. Am I right in that? Or...
Yes, it's part of. There are 3 books, but apparently they're already like merging the two. For
a second season or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I didn't know like if this was like the entire series condensed into, or was just the first book.
Okay, so it's still tentative whether it gets picked up for a second season or not. But I mean, if they're, I don't know, maybe I just really don't like noir films, mystery films, figure out who killed who. Maybe it just might be that. But I think that they should just focus their sci-fi budget on just something different.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. I don't want to say tell a better story because that's kind of pretty generic, but just nothing in it was too interesting, and nothing really. Like, I remember the last really great sci-fi, this is going to sound really cliche and like, but Stranger Things, like you finish watching the first season of Stranger Things, and that was a great, it told its story, it had a focus. When it wrapped up, you were like, that was a good season, and then it's like you had a little teaser, like, but there's still more to come, and you're like, yes, I want more. When is it coming? Here, it's just like there's a vague clue that his ghost girlfriend. Oh, I guess I'm talking about spoilers from the end of season 1. Whoops.
I figured a girlfriend probably should.
She doesn't really show up, but there is basically the teaser for this, which is supposed to get people excited for season 2 of Altered Carbon, is she may be alive, but it's also told by the puppet master character. So it's like, how trustworthy is that? And I don't know. None of it was like, oh man, I need to see season 2. It was like, not really. Season 1 was fine. Told a good enough story. Had good enough actors. Good enough action, really.
Jen, what's on your mind?
I also... So when we first talked about doing this series, you said that I was probably going to think that there weren't enough female characters. And you know what? I really liked the lady cop, the Hispanic lady cop. I thought it was really interesting, too, that they had entire scenes where she was just, like, speaking Spanish with her mother. Like, I liked that a lot.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was like...
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, because then they started talking about religion, and I'm like, oh, that's a good, just, like, introduction. Like, a little side conversation that kind of elaborates on the 25th century's opinion still.
Right, and how things have sort of shifted. Like, in a world where our souls live in little computers on the back of our necks, do you still need to be baptized? I guess. Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I would have liked some more female characters and also fewer unneeded nudity scenes. Like, it felt there were some times when he was like walking around the town his first night or whatever, and everywhere he looks, there's just like advertisements for prostitutes and all of them are naked. And you're just like, okay, come on. I understand that like Netflix is trying to appeal to like the 13-year-old boys or something, but like let some women wear some clothing. Like it'll be fine. I promise.
Yeah. And especially because the cop is, I think, like the most logical or the protagonist female character of the series.
Yeah, definitely.
And the rest of them are either prostitutes or
dead.
Yeah. So it's like, come on.
I did like
Not
seeing
cool.
Valerie from Riverdale is the daughter who I believe is dead.
Okay.
But she, so I saw her and I was like, oh my god, it's somebody I recognize. I was also sort of surprised we weren't really seeing anybody other than her, and she's like a minor character on a CW soap opera. I didn't really see a lot of actors I recognized from other things, and that kind of surprised me. Like, I think, they've, because you think of something like Stranger Things, you still have like Winona Ryder, and so there's, they're definitely like putting out these series, but still trying to get big names. And this seemed like a project that, unless I'm missing something here, it didn't seem like anybody was really a name at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did see that the central guy also played the new RoboCop, but we wouldn't know that because RoboCop wears helmets.
Real question: did anyone see that?
Right.
There's some speculation that he also performs music while wearing a helmet, and it was Darth Vader in the 70s. Like, who knows?
Yeah. So okay.
I will say really fast, Jen. If you do stick with this series,
we both know the answer to that.
There is an awesome scene with Valerie from Riverdale. She's a really fascinating character arc, and probably makes the finale amazing. I will say that. So
that at least makes me feel better, because I want her to have something to do.
But I will agree with you, Jen. It was a little distracting. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen her before. Right.
I was like, I know you from somewhere. But yeah, I was kind of surprised we didn't have any other names. Like, I'm kind of wondering if Netflix has decided that they don't need any more, named actors, or if it's just that they've run out of money. Yeah. Who knows where that is. They had to spend it all on fake blood and neck soles.
Yeah.
Yeah, there weren't really any, there's that character actor that someone pops up in like, sort of like these genre type movies. It wasn't.
Yeah,
I gotta agree with you on that. I agree with you.
Just sort of surprising.
So Jen is not going to finish this. I am going to finish it with a sad face on, and because you have already finished this. With Altered Carbon on your mind, what is the next thing you're going to watch after this?
With Altered that I'm going to watch?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a tough call.
Or has this sparked your interest in any other current TV shows or movies?
To be perfectly honest, no. I mean, I will say this: there really isn't anything. I'll give the show credit. There really isn't anything else like this on television I can think of. That's kind of like this big scale.
It did remind me of Ghost in the Shell, that was recently released.
Yeah, but I think that also goes back to my earlier argument of it just kind of feeling like generic sci-fi world.
Yeah,
because like it feels like Ghost in the Shell, which feels like oh God, what am I? Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd.
Oh, you were about to say Judge Judy.
Oh.
I was gonna say Judge Doom, but I was like, that's not it. That's not the right thing. That's Roger Rabbit. No, but I think that goes back to just a lot of typical sci-fi, cars, robots. I will say, outside of the stacks, the only other feature of this show, the only other unique aspect of the sci-fi world that I haven't seen before is the fact that AI is a part of this world, and yet AI is not, and yet like the artificial beings that are in there, like Poe and the rest of that, like
Hello?
I think Cuz needs to get a better microphone.
I probably do, yes. That's
No.
it's on my wish list.
Because you are continually cutting in and out.
Oh crap!
But it's okay. I've come to expect it from your microphone. But
just interpret my answer.
all right. I don't have anything else to talk about this movie. How about you guys?
Nah. But Charles, when there's a season 2, we'll need an update.
Yes. Yeah. I would love to hear a 5-minute recap of the new season, so that you can save us the 10 hours of the entire season.
I'll chug 6 Red Bulls, a bunch of sugary candy, and I'll let you know how it goes.
All right.
I'll see you for the season 2 report.
Oh yes.
All right. So let's close this bad boy out. I'm the Gorehound.
I'm Trin.
Cousin Charles.
And we are the all-new Culture Cast. Catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the all-new Culture Cast. Check out our blog at znculturecast.wordpress.com. Send us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback, comments, and requests. Follow us on social media. Theme music by bensound.com. The all-new Culture Cast, a saltwater production. Original material copyright 2018. Thanks for listening.